the inauguration of the 42nd President of the United States of America. Live coverage begins Wednesday at 4:30 on BBC Two.
Down at Crinkley Bottom in a couple of minutes, they'll be raising the roof on one of the village's finest old pieces of architecture. The House Party on BBC One. Well, here on BBC Two, poodles, pugs or peaks, German shepherds, Irish wolfhounds or Old English sheepdogs. Who's going to be this year's best in group?
The climax of Crufts 1992 as Morag Bolton's Whippet champion Penklo Dutch Gold was selected best in show.
Hello, welcome to the National Exhibition Centre here in Birmingham, where for the past 3 days, dogs and their handlers have filled the halls here as they took part in what can truly be called the world's most famous dog show. It really is a vast affair with 30 breed judging rings, trade stands where you can buy everything from a giant-sized hairdryer for a St. Bernard to a tiny body belt and lead for a Pekingese. There are paintings, there are sculptures, there are leather goods and all sorts of breed memorabilia.
There are nearly 20,000 dogs entered for Crufts this year. That's only a handful less than last year, despite the recession. And every single one of those dogs has had to go through tough qualifications, winning at other championship shows just in order to be here. Now, behind me at the moment, Mrs. Pamela Cross-Stern is just completing her judging of the Terrier group, and we'll bring you the results of that award as soon as we know them. We'll also be seeing the highlights from the toy group, essentially the small companion dogs, and the smallest group numerically too. Then there's the utility group, which contains a real variety. And of course, the largest group of all, the working dogs.
Well, each year the Kennel Club has been proud to have its president here at the show, and this year no exception. Prince Michael of Kent, he came on the first day, that was the Thursday, and he spent some time visiting the various breed rings around the halls, and he also took the time out to present a very special trophy, the Sean McAlpine Memorial Trophy, to 10-year-old Catherine Elks from Penzance in Cornwall, who won it as the Kennel Club Junior Organisation Junior of the Year. Well done her.
There's judging going on all day, every day here at Crufts, but how's that competition organised? Each dog starts by being judged with its fellows in the breed ring, like these very smart Dalmatians. Now, there may not be that many Dalmatians or Groenendals at the show, but for the more popular breeds, no one person is allowed to judge more than 250 dogs in a day. So where the entry is larger, it's split into two sexes, each judged by a different person. It's the breed judge's job to select which dog will represent its breed in the main ring for the group judging. There are 166 breeds here at Crufts, and each dog is classified into one of 6 groups according to its job or its function. Toys, utilities, working dogs, terriers, hounds and gun dogs. And there are group finals being judged on every evening of the 4-day show. The group winners return on the final day to compete for the ultimate award, Best in Show, becoming the top dog at Crufts 1993.
Well, as Jessica has just said, the Terrier group is actually being judged in the ring at the moment by Mrs. Pamela Cross-Stern. It's coming to the final stages, but not quite there, so the choice of the best of group is not that imminent. With me is Les Crawley, who's writer, broadcaster and dog expert. Les, the Terriers, I mean, people think, I suppose, straight off as the little grounding dogs, the earthing dogs, wiry, small, but it's a very varied group.
Oh, indeed it is. You've got, instead of the usual traditional Fox Terrier, small Terrier type, you've got the Dandy Dinmont, you've got the soft-coated Wheaton, you've got the Bedlington, you've got the Bull Terrier and the Staffordshire Bull Terrier. A mixture of coats, colours, sizes, types.
It's a very difficult task that Mrs. Cross-Stern has got. She's going to be pulling out something like 6, possibly a few more. There's 25 breeds down there. I think the total of dogs, 2,096 dogs taking part today. So she's got to pull out 6 or 7, isn't she, Les? And then we'll select from those the best of the group.
That's right. I'm very glad that she's having to do it and not me, because there's some very good dogs down there, Peter. We've got the Airedale, look, and the Australian Terrier.
In recent years, dogs have received a pretty awful press, and last year the Kennel Club decided to launch a new initiative to promote responsible dog ownership. Well, the Kennel Club Good Citizen scheme is beginning to bear fruits, and here at Crufts there's a demonstration by ordinary pet dogs and their owners of the very basics of good dog behaviour. For example, control of your dog, whether it be for a daily grooming or for the vet to look in its mouth, or maybe being able to keep him calm and well behaved whilst you stop and talk to a friend in the street or someone cycles past you. And there's no barrier to age in those taking part either. Rachel, what's your dog's name?
Jed.
And do you think Jed enjoyed taking part?
Yes.
Now tell me, you've done a lot of training for this scheme as part of the Good Citizens scheme. Why do you think you need to have a well-trained dog?
Because they like being with you and they like being behaved with you.
And if you've got a well-behaved dog, it's a lot easier to look after, isn't
Yes.
it? Why do you think it's important that dogs should be so well-trained?
Well, it's really part of the Good Citizens scheme.
But you've been doing a lot of training with her.
Yeah.
Do you think you and she enjoy it? Who enjoys it the most?
Well, really, she does. But most of all, most probably both of us do.
Mike, the idea of this scheme is to have well-behaved, responsible pet dogs, isn't it? But how did the Kennel Club set about achieving that?
Well, simply because we've got registered training clubs all over the country, everywhere, and they thought the idea was equally smashing, and they said, come on, let's have it.
So does that mean that literally anyone can take part wherever they are?
Yeah, absolutely anybody. Doesn't matter what the dog is, pedigree, mongrel, you name it. Doesn't matter much about your pedigree either. You're in.
And once you've done the scheme, once you've been through all the various tests you have to take part in, do you have some sort of marker at the end that you've made this achievement?
Yes, you go through these tests. They're these very simple things, but they're vital, and you get a certificate to show that you have got your dog into being a good citizen.
And I suppose more importantly, you get a well-behaved dog.
Well, you do, and of course, that sort of training may easily save lives, the dog's or somebody else's.
Well, I wish my dogs were that well trained. Well, you're not missing anything. The Terrier group has not been finished yet. It's still going on there. There are 8 dogs that have been selected out. We'll go back to it a little bit later and we'll be definitely giving you the result. But the group judging also does start on the very first day of the show. And on the opening day, the first group to be judged is the one which I think definitely has the greatest factor. They're a delightful group, the toy dogs.
They're best known as friendly and devoted companions. They must be small, attractive and appealing. They can even be tiny, but inside they're every bit a real dog. They're a one-person dog, being loyal and trustworthy, and are good as personal guards.
There are 20 breeds in the toy group, with 2,527 dogs entered here at Crufts this year. Bob Flavel is to judge. This is the BICHON FRISE, Irish and British champion Alarine Precious Sundance, or Sunny. Alan and Maureen Miles both owned and bred him, and he's the top Irish BICHON for last year.
A very pleasing representative, a thoroughly charming breed. Those dark, round eyes have obviously captivated a lot of people, and this isn't a soft, spoilt darling, but it's a truly happy family dog. I'm most impressed by that firm driving action from his hind legs, and I'm not surprised that he was sent forward by a really well-respected breed judge.
The smallest dog in the world. This is the smooth-coated Chihuahua champion Tudor Prunella, or Prue, a bitch owned by Janet Fraser and bred by Mrs. Finch.
A really lovely specimen with exactly the right roundness of skull and eye, that very saucy expression, a typical compact body with straight forelegs, and this crisp, brisk movement, showing her head off and carrying her tail in that characteristic sickle curve. Lovely.
Happy-looking dog.
Smasher.
A cheeky monkey face of an expression, the Griffon Bruxellois champion Dorlove Jimmy Mack, or Mac. He's 7 years old, believe it or not, owned by Neil and Gwen Swan from Wigan in Lancashire, and I believe, Mike, he won his 49th challenge certificate today. What a dog.
Quite a man, and he's been the leading Griffon Bruxellois since 1987, every single year. Lovely, cocky, real terrier type of dog.
The flowing coat of the Maltese champion Caramalta Maximilian, or Maxi, a dog owned and bred by Marlene Towns from Essex.
Those dark eyes and that black nose and the black rims to the eyes make a very striking contrast with the pure whiteness of the coat, don't they? The long, straight coat seems to flow, never seems to impede that crisp, free movement. It's an old breed, probably the oldest of all the European toys.
And a real showman.
Oh, smasher.
The dog on the table now is the miniature pinscher champion Impala Eye of the Tiger, or Mitch. Sue Barnes owned and bred him, but today he's handled at Crufts by Sue's daughter, Mandy. He's another big challenge certificate winner, isn't he, too, Mike?
The top miniature pinscher of 1991 and 92. A breed that originated in Germany simply yonks ago. Spirited little chap with his fairly narrow skull and his strong muzzle. A powerful body for a little dog. And a really quite a deep rib cage if you watch him. That high-stepping hackney action is essential in the breed, and this lad really shows it off nicely. He goes very, very straight indeed.
Now, the next very glamorous dog is the Pekingese champion St. Sanger, too close for comfort of Genderley. Humphrey, owned by Jeffrey Davis.
Everything about the breed demonstrates that it is a dignified aristocrat. He's got that fearless, almost condescending expression, and his manner of going is demonstrated here. He rolls in his own time.
And this is Bob Flavel's final 6 in the toy group. A difficult decision now. And it's the Pekingese champion St. Sanger, too close for comfort of Genderley. Jeff Davis's dog. Oh, at his very best in triumph. And the reserve spot goes to champion Tudor Prunella, or Prue, the smooth-coated Chihuahua. A good win, Mike.
Oh, very satisfactory.
And presenting the trophy is Peter James, Vice Chairman of the Kennel Club. Jeffrey, congratulations. I understand you've been in Peaks for nearly 30 years and never won a group.
Yes. I've won a group before, but I've never won a best of breed at Crufts. This is my first best of breed and first group at Crufts.
So a marvellous feeling today.
An absolute dream come true.
He showed beautifully for you.
Thank you. I've got every confidence in him. I'm very proud of him.
And looking forward to Sunday?
Looking forward to Sunday, yes.
Well, just a few seconds ago, the climax of the Terrier group took place behind us there, and the winner was the Welsh Terrier. Was that a surprise, Les?
Well, it was a bit, although really it's a lovely looking dog from here, isn't it? And it was a great lineup with some top winning dogs. Really a very, very difficult task, but it must have been a very enjoyable one for him.
The reserve was the Scotty. The name of the winner, Purston Hit and Miss at BRUXELLOIS. That's difficult to say, known as Buttons. That's nice. And the owner's Mrs. Anne Morn. I think handled there in the ring by Mr. Frank Wellett. So, well, that's the result. We will actually be able to come and give you more details of that in our programme tomorrow. Some proper highlights, but at least now you know the winner, the Welsh Terrier. Smashing. Thanks very much, Les. Of course, Crufts isn't only about breed champions. It's also about action events, and they take place here in the big ring. They're always immensely popular. None are more popular, of course, than the Test C Obedience Championship. This year, on the first day, the competition for the bitches turned out to be a real cliffhanger, with Obedience champion Jemima Wimpy Special, lovely bitch, only needing to go clear in the scent discrimination to win. And our handler, Philomena Jeffries, could just watch whilst Wimpy brought back the wrong scent cloth, losing 50 points and the chance of glory. That's the wrong one. They blew it, and they were way out in front. They were certain winners. You heard what the crowd thought of it as well. Well, that left just 2 bitches tied for first place, and they had to compete head-to-head for the title. Obedience champion Kelly of Stillash, handled and owned by Heather Woodford, performed very well in the heel work, and also in the other 3 tie-break exercises. But Obedience champion Altered Image of Ruscath, known as Laney, she overshot the mark in the send-away for Kathy Hardman. It was a shame, sent away beautifully straight, has to land in that little box, and missed it, and that blew her chances. Great shame, leaving Kelly and Heather Woodford, the victors on the day. The crowd delighted, so too was Heather. Quite phased by it. It was a close run thing in the dog competition on Friday, which produced a surprising winner. All very close again, but White Beam Rowanbury, known as Rowan here for short, doing a perfect scent discrimination, took the prize for owner Caroline Cottonall of Macclesfield on their first time ever in individual competition at Crufts. In the Kennel Club Junior Organisation Individual Agility Competition, Greg Derrett here of Cheltenham, he won with Hetty, his 4-year-old crossbred Border Collie and Golden Retriever. They completed a perfect round in just under 43 seconds to take the title. Now, Greg's only 17, and he actually runs the Prestbury Park Dog Training Club with over 60 members, which is a remarkable achievement for someone of his age. And what makes this achievement here at Crufts so good this year and so remarkable is that Hetty here is epileptic. She's on drugs and will be for the rest of her life to keep her stable. So, marvellous win, very well received by the crowd. Well done, Greg and Hetty.
Where the Kennel Club classify all the breeds which don't easily fit into other groups. It also contains dogs which do everything from the glamorous standard poodle to the Dalmatian, which was bred to follow carriages. It's the group which has the highest number of foreign breeds too. In fact, the Bulldog is the only British representative.
Well, the task of choosing the best from the best goes to Harry Jordan, Haj, a very experienced judge in all breeds, and he's looking here at a Japanese Shiba Inu. Welsham Black Jack is Vormund is the full name. It's quite a mouthful, luckily known as Jack, a 3-year-old dog owned and handled by Liz Dunhill from Tickhill in Yorkshire. Actually won reserve best in show at his very first club open show, which you judged, didn't you, Liz?
Indeed, and he's done very well since, I'm very pleased to say. Very smart little dog, very active, very alert. It's a hunting dog, you know. The gait needs to be light, quick and energetic. Well, there we are. It looks as though he can go forever. Very smart little dog.
Runs beautifully to heel. Probably it's obedience training, does a lot of that. This is a 2-year-old Leonberger dog called Jabba, full name Leonberger's Crusader from Atlantis at Managard. Wow. Owned by John Feehan from Enfield, handled by Glenda Smith. Relatively new breed, this one.
Yeah, only about 150 years old, which is not very much in evolution, is it? It's a mix of the St. Bernard, the Newfoundland and the Pyrenean mountain dog. It's very strong and muscular, very intelligent, very amiable dog, and it was an attempt to breed a dog that looked a bit like a lion, and you can see the big mane around the neck. Very smart dog. This is an imported dog, Peter, and I think will do a lot of good for the breed.
Beautiful movement. Just as I say that, it slides on the green beige, but it really does move beautifully. Max is a miniature Schnauzer, champion Sonche, Call Me Mr. Rice Park, a 2.5-year-old dog, tremendously successful one too, owned by Peter Newman and Barry Day, handled here by Barry Day.
It looks a little bit like a terrier, but has nothing to do with the terrier family at all. It's devoid of all the terrier characteristics. In fact, it's more of a herding and shepherd dog. He's no hunter, but he's a tremendous killer of vermin. They have this lovely trim where you get the eyebrows giving a very grumpy look, Peter. Look at him.
They do look grumpy, don't they? Yes. What am I doing here? Oh, well, let's walk around, let them take a look at me.
That's it.
Well, no utility group would be complete without the standard poodle. This is champion Montravia Don Jose, a 2-year-old dog known as Frank. Has actually been 9 times best of breed for Pauline Gibbs and Marita Rogers, the owners, handled here by Marita. And I suppose, as a poodle, they don't come much better than this, do they?
They do not. It's a lovely, lovely character. And if you want to see some good handling, and particularly pacing a dog, watch Marita go around the ring. Now, she's got this dog going just at the right speed. Another little slip there. But what a lovely dog. It looks as though it could go on and on and on, and probably could.
And that gait just shows off all the dog's best features.
Doesn't it?
Looks marvellous. This is Hank, a 2-year-old Tibetan Terrier dog, champion Iraqi Hank the Yank, owned by Anne Sinclair and Avril McLean, bred and handled by Ken Sinclair. Incidentally, he also bred the best Tibetan Terrier bitch today, so he's had a smashing day.
He's had a good day, hasn't he? My goodness me. Medium-sized dog. This is not really a terrier at all, though it's called a Tibetan Terrier. It's never been used to go to ground, you see, so that's why it comes in the utility group. More of a shepherd dog and a watchdog. Very, very old breed, of course.
Harry Jordan now going over to take a look at Fred, the last of his final 6. It's a 4-year-old LHASA APSO dog, champion Saxon Springs Federico, bred and owned by Jean Blythe, shown by Ken Woosman, and Fred's actually one of 16 dogs at home in Haverhill, Suffolk.
Another dog from Tibet, and another dog which is one of great antiquity. The Dalai Lama used to give palace-bred dogs to visiting dignitaries, so I suppose if you own an APSO, Peter, you're somebody a little bit special.
Just a little bit special. I haven't got one. Well, Harry Jordan then now checks this line. I think he's probably made his mind up by now, but he's got to choose the best of what have been 2,760 utility dogs at Crufts this year. Quite a task.
Not easy at all, Peter, because really he's looking at very, very good dogs indeed, and what he's got to try to do is to find a special dog from very good dogs. Best way to judge, of course. It's much more fun.
The cream of the cream. Well, he's made his decision. He's calling for the boards. And now we have 6 owners, 6 handlers there, waiting to know, wondering whether it's going to be their lucky year. It's all in the eye of the judge. It's all in his mind. It looks, it could be the Leonberger. No, it's not. It's the miniature Schnauzer, crowning a wonderful winning year for Max, champion Sonche, Call Me Mr. Ricepark. And the reserve there is the Tibetan Terrier. But the glory really goes to Peter Newman and Barry Day, owners of Max. Their reward for 35 years of family interest in showing dogs. And the Tibetan Terrier there, 2-year-old champion Iraqi, Hank the Yank. Popular choice for the reserve, but Max it is, who must be king for the day.
He's very young, Max, and he's only 2.5.
Yes, he is indeed.
But his last show.
Yes, he's...
Why is that?
Well, he's had a tremendous year last year. He was a top puppy the year before and one of the top dogs last year. And especially after this, what else is there?
Well, there's still Sunday.
If we don't do another thing, we'll be absolutely over the moon with what we've done. It's
marvellous.
Really
Congratulations.
tremendous.
Good luck on Sunday.
Thank you very much.
Now, if you've got a pedigree dog yourself and you've been inspired by a visit to Crufts or any other show for that matter, you think you might like to show yourself, how do you get involved? Les, presumably taking the opportunity of talking to people at a show like this is a good start.
Yes, certainly. Watch first of all, because there's a lot of work and skill goes into showing dogs, and then talk to exhibitors, particularly in your own breed, but do be careful, don't talk to them just before they're going into the ring, because they get a little bit excited.
That's when you should take advantage of the benches, the places you can talk to people when they're just grooming their dogs.
And a good walk around and have a look.
What about getting involved closer to home, locally?
There are lots and lots of ring craft classes at dog clubs. They'll teach you how to stand your dog, how to walk your dog, and generally to socialise your dog, because that's very important too.
When you actually get to going to the show, or you think your dog's ready to go to a show, how on earth do you find out when they're held, where, how to enter?
The best places to look are the 2 dog papers. There are 2 weekly dog papers. Look at them. They have all the news of all the classes, all the shows.
And the show entry form's in there?
No, but you can always write to the secretary and get one.
And make sure you go.
Not half.
Well, we've had a good look at the winners of the utility group and the toy group. We've had a very brief glimpse at the winner of the terrier group, and I believe we can get a glimpse again. There he is. That's Purston Hit and Miss at Broccolativa, Buttons for short, a 3-year-old bitch. And I said Mr. Frank Wellett, I think handle it's Mr. Frank Kellett. My apologies to him, but there's a nice little look. So that's the terrier group, but we'll show in more detail terrier group tomorrow in tomorrow's programme. Now it's time to take a look at the working group, which is by far the largest with 45 breeds. It's the largest group of dogs here at the show.
Hauling carts, herding sheep and cattle and guarding are some of the tasks done by these efficient varieties. They're intelligent dogs, they need lots of training from an early age, and they need a job to do. Whilst they're being trained, handler and dog build a rapport that lasts for life.
There were 5,318 dogs entered in the working group this year at Crufts, and what an impressive sight lined up all the way around this big ring. And our judge this evening is George Down. He's been a championship show judge for over 30 years, so quite some experience. One of the 4 varieties of Belgian Shepherd is the TERVUEREN, and champion Vallhund Bon Chance represents them tonight. You may remember Sue Young and Chance because they won the working group here at Crufts in 1992.
This dog's a personal favourite of mine. I've been privileged to go over him in the ring, and what you see is what you get. A thoroughly graceful animal, full of style, with a brief, characteristic way of moving.
Now this is a really popular working dog, the Border Collie, show champion Clan Abbey Silver Kiwi at B Gold, or Kiwi at home. He's owned and shown by Felix Cosme.
And arguably the most responsive to training of all the breeds, but he's got to be taught properly. This particular one comes from New Zealand. He was bred and born there, and in a country with 10 times as many sheep as people, you've got to have a trainable dog. This one's as active and supple as you could ask.
Champion Tonentron Glory Lass was the top boxer bitch for 1992. She's bred and owned by Mrs. Tonkin, and last year Glory Lass's father was best of breed here at Crufts.
And this young lady epitomises why you just can't be neutral about boxers. She's got the most glorious head on a muscular, clean neck. In fact, she fits the breed standard to a T.
The Briard is both a sheep herder and a guard, originally from France. This is Gilcarou Passion de Brie. She's a young bitch, just 16 months old and owned by Mr. and Mrs. Rule.
Rough, tough and glorious. A mobile, hairy rascal of a bitch. Extrovert as they come. One for the hearty, healthy human being. A worker capable of telling her sheep just how to behave and making sure that any predators shove off.
Now this is a working dog still very much used in our modern society. The German Shepherd, Norwolf the Morris dancer, or Horrible Horace at home. He's bred and owned by Margaret Barrow, and this was his first best of breed today.
There are very polarised views on GSD types, but if this one doesn't satisfy you, you're a hard one to please. Give him a job to do, he'll do it.
Now this Old English sheepdog has been the top British show dog for the last 2 years. Champion Lamidazotl Flamboyant is a 3.5-year-old dog owned and bred by Christina Smith, and Boise won his 51st challenge certificate today.
But make no mistake about the way this is turned out. He didn't get like that without huge effort and dedication. He's a biddable sort of chap, very aptly named Flamboyant, and he goes straight as a die.
The Samoyed Valentino Imperial Flyer, or Peluche, and her owner Valerie Hampton have had quite a day today. They won their first challenge certificate, their first championship show best of breed, and now here they are in the group.
The laughing, smiling dog of them all, gleams with health and happiness, loves the human race and delights in telling us so, quite often noisily. And he's got these lovely big flat feet, rather like snowshoes.
This is a Swedish Valhund, champion Hurstfield Kilana, owned and bred by Mrs. Jackie Bayliss. Lana might look like a corgi, but you'd be quite wrong to think so, wouldn't you, Mike?
Indeed, though her job in life is just the same. It's a herder, a breed with a lovely temperament, neat with a harsh, tight-fitting jacket, hard as nails, all ready for any exercise that's offered.
What a massive and impressive dog this is by comparison. The Pyrenean mountain dog, Reno, or champion Lordly Damascus, owned by Colin and Adrienne Bowker and bred by Beryl Lord.
Lovely to see a Pyrenean with such contrasts of colour in the coat, with those orangey tan tints. His job is to look after both shepherd and sheep, but if you ask him to, he will oblige by settling for a trundle down to the local or a real pipe open on the hills.
Now George Down has to make his final decision from that selection.
He's got such an enormous wealth of talent to choose from. There's so many lovely dogs.
But it's the Samoyed that takes it. Valentino Imperial Flyer with Valerie Hampton. I should think Valerie's totally stunned. She seems to have been winning an awful lot of things for the first time today. And in reserve, it's the Briard Gilcarou Passion de Brie.
We hear about dreams come true, but I doubt if Valerie has got an idea of what she and that lovely Peluche have just achieved.
Oh, that's one extremely happy lady. Well, that's 4 group winners that you've already seen, and just 2 groups now to be decided. There's one behind me in the ring now. It's the Hound group. 2,843 dogs have now been reduced to the 27 best of breed winners who have been judged by Mrs. Joan Nicholson. She's got quite a task. That'll be going on for at least another 3/4 of an hour, and we'll certainly be able to give you the result in our special program tomorrow. And of course also it's the turn of the gun dogs as well. Plus that competition when the 6 best of breed winners battle it out, or at least the judge casts a good eye over them to decide which is the top dog here at Crufts, the best in show for 1993.
And you can come to Crufts to see those gun dogs tomorrow morning, starting judging at 9 o'clock in the morning. And there's still plenty to see around the breed rings and on the trade stands. It'll cost you just £6 to get in with the usual concessions. And remember, there's plenty of access for disabled visitors too. Car parking and rail transport are both easy. Just head for the National Exhibition Centre or Birmingham International Station.
Smash it. I suggest you come along. We'll be back on the air, though, if you don't, at 7 o'clock tomorrow night, when you'll be able to see highlights of the terriers, the hounds and the gun dogs, plus that final competition, which will decide the supreme moment here at Crufts, the dog that is the best in show here for 1993.
So do make sure you join us, won't you? Until then, from all of us, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.